What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 build video. Now before we get into the build breakdown, I want to give you a little intro followed by some gameplay, because we all want to know how the build works before the build is explained. So, what I'm going to show you guys is gameplay in both the Dark Zone and in Conflict, where you can see the ticks from the Oxidizer go up to 143k per tick in PvP. Now in PvE, the ticks go to upwards of 400, 410k, somewhere around there. It just depends on what weapon I use in PvE, because I can even get the ticks to go up to like 490k and around that area, near 500k if I use the capacitor. But I'm going to show you guys some gameplay in PvP and PvE, and then we will be right back with the build breakdown. So buckle up, get your popcorn out, don't forget to hit that like, and I will see you guys here in a second. Peace.
Down. Boost now active. An agent needs assistance. Agent down.
Point Charlie is now held by your team. You're holding all 3 control points. Excellent.
Rogue seeker mine detected. Immediate medical assistance needed.
No one's retreating. The fight continues. There are no more rogue reinforcements.
Rogue artillery turret detected. Rogue stinger hive detected. Rogue striker drone detected. An agent needs assistance. Rogue explosive seeker mine detected. Rogue fixer drone detected.
You can't be this stupid! Wake up! You really want to kill me?
An agent needs assistance.
You can't be this stupid! Wake up!
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back from the gameplay. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, what I just showed you was gameplay in Conflict, gameplay in the Dark Zone to show you guys the PvP numbers, and then I also showed you what it was like against Fei Lao on Heroic, which was pretty dope as well. So if you guys enjoyed it, let's go ahead and get into the build breakdown. Shout out to the DoD, Disciples of Doom. Now, here's the build. I'll let it soak in for a second so you guys can look at it, and we will start with the specialization. Now I'm using the Technician specialization. Why is that? Well, it gives you 10% skill damage on top of everything just from using the specialization. Now it does also offer you a +1 skill tier. So if you're lucky enough to find like a God rolled Empress International or like a God rolled Hana Corporation, Wyvernware, something like that, to where you can roll it to like a red core attribute, by all means go for it. It'll give you more weapon damage. However, I'm not that lucky with RNG, so I've got a all yellow build. Now with the Technician specialization, obviously I'm at max skill tier, and I also get that added skill damage from using the specialization. Now let's talk about the weapons. My pick for PvP, this would be my PvP setup. The Test Subject and the Scorpio. This is by far my PvP setup, and I also use this to defeat Fei Lao. However, if you want to get the biggest bang for your buck, you can go with the Capacitor. So if you have the Capacitor for PvE, by all means use it, get those stacks up, and go to town, because you can get the Oxidizer to go up to like I think I've got it up to like 493, something like that, using the Capacitor. But in my opinion, it is not easy to even get stacks, let alone keep stacks in PvP, unless you're like sitting there face tanking a shield or something. You're not going to get those stacks just out of the blue. Especially running a skill build where you're already a little squishy, I do not recommend the Capacitor. For PvP, I totally and utterly recommend the Test Subject. Reason being is it comes with that talent perfectly in sync. So hitting a target grants me 20% skill damage, and when my skill hits the target, I get 20% weapon damage. If I do those both at the same time, I will get double. So that's 40% skill damage and 40% weapon damage. Now adding that with my glass cannon chest piece, these get amplified, and the damage is just, it's awesome. You guys already saw for yourself. Now for this test subject, 72.4k on that total damage, and that's with assault rifle damage maxed out and health damage. I wish I had a better test subject, but for now, I've got accuracy as that bottom attribute. Now going to my secondary, I do run the Scorpio with my test subject. Reason being, if enemies try to charge through your skills and just run straight at you, I highly recommend whipping out the Scorpio. Even though it doesn't do a lot of damage, you can still get those debuffs on the enemy really quick, and that will help out not only yourself survivability, but it'll also help out your teammates, because you can get them on, you know, shock and snare, you know, things like that. For this Scorpio, 631.8k on that total damage, and that's with 15% shotgun damage, 11% damage to armor, and 9% crit damage. And then for the sidearm, I'm using the TDI custom. You can use whatever it is you want. I know that it also gives you a +1 skill tier, but I'm not really utilizing it. And in fact, I'm not really using the sidearm at all. I'm using the Test Subject and the Scorpio. And if you're nasty, use the Capacitor. Now, as far as the build, now I'm using 3-piece Empress International. I have noticed that the efficiency that you get from the 3-piece really does help out the Oxidizer. So I would highly recommend using the 3-piece Empress instead of, say, 2-piece with like a Wyvern. But that's just me. You can use the 2-piece with a wyvern if you want, but for me, this is the best setup for my playstyle. So let's do a deep dive, starting off with the mask. Empress International Mask. Now the Empress International brand set bonuses I get from this build: skill health 10%, skill damage 10%, and 10% skill efficiency. Now the skill efficiency is, say status effects, skill haste, skill damage, all the above. Now as far as the attributes, it comes with the skill tier for the core attribute, and then this one, max skill damage and 9.9 status effects. For the mod, I chose skill haste at 11.8. Going to the backpack, I did choose the force multiplier, and here's why. You can use shock and awe if you want. I personally do not have a Hana U with shock and awe. I would try it that way. However, you get more damage using the perfect combined arms. 10% to be exact. Shock and awe is only 20% skill damage, whereas combined arms is 30%. And if you have the Oxidizer ensnare on the ground while using this, it will automatically proc while it is on the ground. So you saw in the gameplay where I was shooting Shake Love in the Dark Zone, I would shoot the Oxidizer, whip out my weapon, and then shoot him. And even with the Oxidizer on the ground, when I procced combined arms and perfectly in sync, you could see the damage instantly change. So it doesn't matter if it's before or after you shoot the Oxidizer. All you have to do is shoot them with one bullet, and you will have perfectly in sync and perfect combined arms proc, and it is immediately applied to that damage. So you don't even have to shoot them again with the Oxidizer. It's already doing that extra damage. Now, back to the backpack. Hana U Corporation, brand set bonuses, I get skill haste and skill damage at 10%. Now, as far as these attributes, I am missing 0.1% skill damage, so you can get better damage than I can by 0.1%, which is also amplified, by the way, so don't sleep on that. I'll eventually optimize this, but 9.9 on the skill damage, max skill haste, and then for the mod, more skill haste. Believe it or not, I've got 111. Let me check before I talk out my butt. I've got 111% skill haste on this build. This thing rocks. Not only that, but if I run out of chems, I've got my hive, and this hive will wreck both players and NPCs alike. Now going to the chest piece, Hana U Corporation, this one with glass cannon. I know everyone and their mom says they can't survive with glass cannon. Boo, boo hoo. I am showing you guys. I use glass cannon on my sticky bomb. I use glass cannon on my mortar turret, and I'm using glass cannon now on my Oxidizer build. It is very easy to run and gun with glass cannon. Do not be scared because other content creators prefer kinetic momentum. It must be the best way to go. You will get better damage using glass cannon. You just need to learn how to adapt that to your playstyle. If you play a little aggressive, you can. Just remember you're using glass cannon, so make sure you can, chicken dance, combat roll, and do everything while shooting the Oxidizer. You saw that I could do it, and you can do it too. All you have to do is practice. Now, back to the chest piece. So I do have glass cannon. All the damage is amplified by 25%. However, you do get amplified incoming damage at 50%. Now, as far as the attributes, skill tier, max skill damage with crit chance, which I wish it was skill haste, but RNG. And then for the mod, more skill haste at 11.9%. Going to the gloves, Empress International, skill tier, skill damage, and crit damage. Yeah, again, I wish it was skill haste or status effects, but whatever, it is what it is. Going to the knee pads, Empress International, God rolled, max skill damage, and skill haste. And then finally, actually the best part of all of it, the waveform holster. Now a lot of people are shying away from this holster for, like, say another Wyvern piece or something like that. I would tell you to use the waveform, especially if you're using 2 skills that do damage, because while yes, the 30% extra damage from this holster does act as an hourglass and it passes, you know, from one skill to another, but it will pay the dividends, I promise you. All you need to do is throw this bad boy on and you will see your numbers skyrocket, and you know, just out of nowhere. It's amazing. But yeah, please use the waveform for your skill builds. It's meant to be used for your skill builds. If you're using like a damage skill and then, like, say a healer skill, okay, then don't use it. If you are using, say, a damage skill and like a pulse, don't use it. But if you are using 2 skills that do damage, you need to use this holster. This is best in slot as long as you are using 2 skills that do damage. Now, segue into my skills. First skill is the Stinger Hive. This one, let's see, normal damage 1.25 million, bleed 68.6k. For PvP, 300k bleed, or 300k damage, 17.1k bleed. For the Oxidizer, oh, okay, so that's with the waveform on the Stinger Hive. And then this without the waveform, it's 64k PvP, but with the waveform it goes up to 74k. And then here, right, 183k cloud damage, but again with the waveform that'll go up past 220 to 230k. And then what else? Let's finish off with the stats. Alright, so this is for the test subject. 72.4k weapon damage, PvP 29k weapon damage, 13.7 on that crit chance, 55.6 crit damage, and 75 headshot. Go down to the offensive tab, 10% all weapon damage bonus and 30% AR damage bonus. So every time I'm using the test subject, I get 40% damage bonus total. Don't forget I am using perfect combined arms with glass cannon and alternating current. Defensive tab, 726k armor, 331k health, with 10% explosive resistance and hazard protection. Both of those are due to my watch level. Go down to the skills because this is a skill build. Here is my Stinger Hive, tier 6, 111.2 skill haste, with 1.25 million damage and 68.6k bleed damage. For PvP, 300.2k damage and 17.1k bleed damage. And there you guys have it. Cool beans. I just remembered I already went over the skills, so I'm not going to go over them twice. You've already seen this thing in action, not only in the Dark Zone, but in Conflict and against Fei Lao on Heroic. I think that this thing would really shine with the capacitor in the Summit. I think that it would shine perfectly, especially if you could spawn trap them with the Oxidizer. For PvP, I highly recommend running it just like this, because you can use the Hive to try to, you know, funnel the enemies to a certain spot, and then you can shoot all of your Oxidizers at them. The Oxidizers do stack, so the more times you shoot it, the more times you're going to get damage, especially if you're shooting it on the enemy. Now remember, the enemy can roll out of it, run away from it, and it will do no damage. So just be cognizant about that. And also, you can die from your own Oxidizer. So don't just run into your own Oxidizer, it'll kill you. So just take that. Here is the build. It is my first ever Oxidizer build. It was very fun using. I personally never used this skill until I made this build. So thank you guys for requesting it. I highly recommend it. It's actually a lot of fun to use. If you want to see any other type of build, I do listen to you guys in the comment section below. So just let me know whatever build you want me to use, and we'll go from there. Let's think. A few builds I haven't done recently. A sniper build, maybe a rifle build. I don't know. There's a few builds I haven't touched recently. Maybe like an LMG build that's not the Pestilence. I don't know. We'll see. I do like the Pestilence though. But alright, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.